I'm Hal Adamson. I was president of the Rotary Club of Tucson in 1961-62. In the good old days when we met downtown at the Pioneer Hotel, which was once characterized by one of our speakers as the longest trolley car he ever spoke in, because the room was fairly narrow and very long, and they set it up so that the speaker had to look right and left to his audience. It was an interesting time. Just a few years after the war, Tucson was really starting to boom. The suburban expansion hadn't really taken off. It was just starting. So most of the Rotarians, I would say at least 50%, walked to Rotary from their offices or businesses downtown. And we had all of the local retailers and florist shops and specialty shops that were regular members there. Helen Middleton was our club secretary. She'd been in the job just about 5 years. We'd had one lady before that for just a year. Prior to that, there was no club secretary, and with a permanent part-time secretary at that time, it made things much more cohesive and ran more smoothly because the club was getting so big and had such a reach in the community. We had wonderful times down there. I think that I imposed the biggest fine that had ever been imposed to that time to Harold Steinfeld, who it had been announced in the paper had sold the corner across the street from his department store to Walgreens for something like $500,000, and he had agreed in advance to a fine of $500, which was just shocking to everybody because fines in those days were running about $3 to $5. I think one of the things that I remember best about my year is the honor I had in introducing Senator Barry Goldwater to our club, who was a very popular figure in those days. He had only been a senator for about 8 or 10 years, and a very dynamic speaker, and I think everybody enjoyed him, and we had a very full house for that meeting because of his prominence. Something that struck me when I was president is how hard it was to read the names on the badges. And we had a pretty big club. I think we were around 300 or a little more. And we were known as the 90 old men. I wasn't one of them at that time. But you would see the members kind of squint as they looked across the table at the badges of other members, because we were using the standard Rotary badge, and the name that we went by, our nickname, was so small you could hardly see it. So with the help of Helen Middleton, our secretary, we found a company in San Diego that would personalize a special badge for us. And we're still using that badge today, and if you notice it, the name that you go by in Rotary is in very large bold type, and we have a personalized background for our club and our area of the country with the saguaro cactus, the mountains, and the Rotary emblem coming over the mountain as a sunrise. So that, and we had different colors for different categories of membership, and those badges are still being used. So when I see one, I kind of think back as to the fun we had doing that. Downtown Tucson then was really all there was in Tucson, and you'd see Rotarians during the week as you were downtown regularly. And we had all the old pillars of the community, Frank O'Reilly, Harold Steinfeld, Alex Hockamy, just wonderful people that were the stalwarts of our club, and attended regularly and participated to a great extent. I think one of the things I was a goal of mine when I first became president is to try not to make a fool of myself. I was pretty young and inexperienced, and I had some friends that talked me into taking the job, and fortunately, I had very good committee chairman. As I mentioned, A.V. Grossetter was the one that really made the year successful, because everybody enjoyed coming to Rotary so much because of the quality of the programs that he had. I would like to say to newer members of the club and members still to come that the best way to get the most out of Rotary is to participate, get involved in the committee work, especially the car show. There's been so much camaraderie developed in the car show because we spend more time getting it organized, and then the days just before the show and the cleanup after the show, there are a lot of people out there together, and there are funny things that happen that people remember, and it really gets you in a position to know your fellow members, and you have a much better relationship with them, and it carries over into your business and your other social activities. It's a great experience. I would recommend Rotary to anyone.